can go through some of the physical rough ride, the Bronco ride of withdrawal. But there's something else, especially about drugs like heroin, that keep calling, they keep beckoning. And we get into the issue then of how do we get people off drugs? Is it a 3-day process, 30-day process, 3-month process, 6 months, or a year? I know that David thinks, and many others do, that, where'd I go?
No, you're there. I was trying to spotlight you. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So a lot of people think that you need time to overcome the physical dependence. And in most cases, that would be maybe 6 months to a year. And that's a rough ride. And you have to have God's grace and everybody's help in order to make it. But there's an herb called ibogaine that we may have mentioned last time also, one of God's creations. And if you take one capsule, 1,000 milligrams of this herb, then all physical dependency is over, gone, disappears within 12 hours. So in the normal treatment of somebody for addiction, you could give them a capsule of this herb, let them lay on a couch for 12 hours, and then rest a little bit for the next 12. And their physical dependency is over. So that way you can greatly accelerate this process of getting people off of the narcotic. But then one of our favorite sayings is, the saying is, we can get the monkey off your back, but the circus is still in town. We have to deal with the social, moral, ethical, spiritual aspect of this. And that's why I was hoping to learn more from you guys and from David, because what we have come to is a big wall, and that wall says we have to have in-residence treatment. And that's not where I come in. I used to do that. I had 5 in-residence treatments for PTSD, and I didn't even call it addiction. We just called it troubled youth. So we didn't have anybody pointing at them saying they're a drug addict, they're this, they're that, they're dependent, they're hooked. We just gave people a peaceful, safe place that drugs were not part of the atmosphere. And we're lucky enough to do that for many years, maybe 20, 30 years, or I did personally with our clinic. And getting people off the narcotics at that point, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, was a piece of cake. Considering how much difficulty we have today, it's kind of hard to believe it was as easy as give people shelter, food, comfort, safety, guidance, and they naturally stopped taking the drugs. They didn't. There's a more healthy way, a happier way. So by giving them some type of home type of atmosphere and treating them with dignity, it was fairly easy. I don't know if we had 100% cure rate, but it was pretty close. And that's where I think this, this is a clergy-based group, right? Dealing with that. So
clergy.
You're the guys that then
clergy and community leaders.
So what do you think? I'm broke, so I can't do what I used to do. We used to have a fairly extensive multi-million-dollar setup where we could help people, and I don't have that anymore now. And we could even get into discussions of whether or not the devil is trying to keep these kids from recovery, keep the vets, from finding comfort, security, and balance in their own lives. Because it seems like that to me, that we are, to put it bluntly, instead of just dealing with a medical issue here, we're dealing with principalities.
Yeah.
We're dealing with darkness. We're dealing with light.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
and I'm not an expert in that, so I I defer to all my experts here listening now to suggest what we might do.
May I ask a
Okay,
question?
yeah, what I'd like to do is that we're recording now. If we can close off the meeting now and then restart so we won't get cut off in about 10 minutes. That'll give us a solid 30 minutes to go. So everyone, I'm going to close the meeting and then let's all come back on.
Okay.
And we'll see you shortly.
All right.